Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, by that noise you know, I'm back on the DR. And the reason for that is it's just passed its MOT. Woo! So the next step is I've got to do the XJ6, but the XJ6 is going off the road. There is a reason for that, which I'm going to get into in a minute after some beefy supermoto noises. I can't undertake you, so please move over. So I was going to make a video recently talking about, is it a good thing to have two bikes? And I think I've kind of covered this before, but it's now been quite a few years of having two bikes, and I have a better idea now. The reality to it is this: owning and riding two bikes is great. Maintaining them is not. Now the reason I say that is because, you think, oh well, the maintenance on one bike's not too bad, so when you double it, that's alright. Not so much. It really does delay things, and it causes a lot of, problems when you're like working from one thing to another. If you could do both at the same time, maybe that's a thing. But I'd say having two bikes is a really cool thing to do. And when you have two bikes, it's different as mine. The DRZ 400 SM, which is a complete impractical lunatic machine, basically, and then my XJ6, which is just sensible. They complement each other very well and give me as many options into riding as I could possibly want. This goes off-road, on-road, it's silly, and the XJ6 covers all the, the normal things I need to do, the mundane. Oh, don't put your foot down. Nice. So why am I taking the XJ6 off the road? Simply because, as I mentioned, both bikes' MOTs were due by the end of this month. I am about to start work on it, but I know that a couple of the parts I need are going to take a little bit longer than I have left. And also I need to buy tyres, which means I need to, basically I would like to pay that next month to try and spread out the load of things I've had to pay for. But there is another benefit to it too, which, as I've just said, both my bikes' MOTs are due within a week of each other. Wouldn't it be nice if that was not the case? Yes, it would. So if I saw on the XJ6 take a little bit longer to do the work, although it may not be, the time I get through filming and doing each and individual job, stripping it down and putting it back up together, maybe it will be about that time anyway. But the benefit, obviously, is I can have my MOT dates further apart if I take the MOT on the XJ6 later. Of course, I say I have two bikes that I use and maintain, but in reality I have Reno's bike as well that I maintain, so I do have three, but that bike really is a golden child. It just doesn't go wrong, generally, touch wood. So I guess I'm going to need to factor that into my feelings about how much work maintaining two bikes is, but yeah, I really do think that don't underestimate, that's the other side of it. Do you do your own maintenance? If you pay for someone to do the maintenance, having two bikes could be extremely expensive. All that labour. If you do it yourself, it's obviously much better. If you could be a YouTuber and turn it into a job.
Oops, winning.
So with the XJ6 being off the road, this is going to be my main machine for the next month or so, which, given that the weather is starting to turn, and I just heard a Mediterranean gull calling, spring is definitely on its way. The nicer weather's coming, and that is the bike to be using. The only thing is, when I have a couple of bike reviews to do relatively soon, if I can ever get them done. To give you an idea of how while ago that was, it was before a cold spell where we had ice for a week. Then it just rained for 2 months. And then randomly, even though the weather forecast says it's not going to do it, the sun has come out. We'll have more of this, it'll be great. So yes, great that the DR is back. And we fixed all the issues with it. Apart from the paint, but as I said, I'm going to green lane it this year, and I don't want to be precious, so I might as well chip it and dent it and scratch it and dink it, and then get it sorted. So in the next couple of weeks, for patrons that is, I should have the first episode of working on the XJ6, and obviously with this weather change, you've got lots and lots of other stuff to do. As I say, it's great that I'm pushing my MOT further into the year, but it's also kind of bad because I'm going to be getting to the time I'm going to be doing as many bike reviews as I possibly can. And you may say, well, why don't you just do it more winter long? There is a really good reason for that. Grey, miserable videos are boring to watch and boring to make, in my opinion. I'd rather do it on a nice sunny day where we can actually enjoy the bike on dry roads and just, you know, have a much better idea. Why bother doing it if you're not going to do it right? Are you doing a UE? Or are you going... No, yes you are doing a UE. Something just went wrong with my camera. So yes, that's kind of the plan and what's going on with the bikes. But to go back to the whole thing of owning more than one bike, as I say, if it's two bikes that are very similar, I don't necessarily see the point in it. You need to have bikes that are different. You know, you don't have two 10mm sockets. You have none because you keep losing them. No, it's because someone keeps stealing. I was letting him through. It wasn't me stalling. No, you have no 10mm sockets because that guy breaks into your garage and steals them. Oh my god, I wish more people had seen that intro. So much effort went into that little skit. You don't know what I'm talking about. This video here, just watch the first 2 minutes. It's funny. Anyway, you don't have two of the same thing, same tool. Okay, you do sometimes, but you know what I'm saying. Alright, musical instruments, you wouldn't have two saxophones. People are going, I've got 7 saxophones. Right, fine, whatever. The point is, don't have two of the same bike. There's no point in it. They need to be different. They can have an overlap of what they do at some point, but they need to be different enough to make it worthwhile. And obviously, if they're both old and very haggard, you are probably going to be doing a lot more maintenance to them than riding. But then again, that's not necessarily true, because older bikes are easier to fix and modern bikes can go wrong just as much, and then sometimes that's harder to fix, so it's off the road longer. Chavasic Park, that should be a film. Instead of dinosaurs everywhere, it's just chavs going, oh, and it may. Look, it's true, they do flock together when they're shoplifting. Oh my god, now everyone's going to think I'm saying everyone haven't a chav. It was just a random side joke. This is not Chavtown. We all know where Chavtown is. I'm going to preempt a question that I have a feeling is going to get asked, because people tend to ask it whenever I bring this up. People are like, Spicy, if you were to sell both your bikes and buy just one bike, what would it be? And as I said before, I really don't know. The most likely scenario is something like a Triumph Scrambler 1200 or a Tiger 900, something, you know, I know I'm picking two Triumphs there, but they were two bikes which of the type happened to be really good for what I liked. I have reviews on all of these things, but yeah, something sort of, you know, somewhere between a sports bike and a supermoto is, well, of course, it's an adventure bike that's more road orientated than off-road orientated. So you could also bring in the 800DE into that from Suzuki and stuff like that. So that would probably be my ideal solution, but all of these bikes are very expensive and my income is not that good. Join Patreon, I love you, so I can't afford to do that with the current selection of modern bikes. And from the old bikes, yeah, there are some options. I've ridden some things that, you know, are similar, but they're just not right. It's not the thing I'm after. Also, I have a deep emotional attachment to Derek, my DRZ, obviously. I think many of you, if you've watched Return for a long time, know why. It's just, this was my dream bike. It always was my dream bike. I bought my dream bike, and I still love it, and it's still... I have more fun riding this than nearly anything else out there. Now, if you compare it to new things, this hasn't got ABS or traction control or any fancy stuff. This is just a frame with a hulking great big 440cc single that makes big farty noises. But the grunt of this bike it's addictive. And the XJ6, although I do have an emotional attachment to that bike as well because of the story that goes with it, I could understand replacing that easier than this, but then what am I going to replace it with that's going to be better than that? And the thing is, I got such a good deal with it because Hazel Motorcycles is so kind to me, but also because it was basically bought for me by my subscribers, even though I was telling them not to do it. You know, it's special, and I hope people appreciate that I appreciate that, and I've always appreciated that. You know, it's not something that I've got through the channel and then, you know, weeks or a year later got rid of and got something else. It's still here. It's still being used, loved, cared for. And, you know, it's currently got 60,000 miles on the clock. This bike's got 33,000 miles on the clock. Both my bikes get ridden. Fart noises. So what am I doing here? I'm probably just convincing myself that, yes, getting these bikes through their MOTs and maintaining them is a little bit of a ball ache, but I love them both and I wouldn't want to get rid of them, so what am I moaning about? Get them fixed and get out and enjoy the sun. But there we go. As I say, DR's back on the road, videos on the XJ6 coming, other stuff coming. As long as the weather keeps playing like this, then there'll be bike reviews and all sorts of stuff. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new here, and if you'd like to support me, please consider doing that through Patreon. I would really appreciate it. Is that a cat or a piece of plastic? That's a cat. I can see a cat in the bushes. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, yeah. Bye. Look, you can see him. He's there.